Hello, friends. If you're anything like me, every now and then you have an idea and you think this is a great idea. So maybe you pull up Google Docs and maybe you write down the abstract of your idea to be written out later. Also, if you're anything like me, lately you've been playing around with ChatGPT, and it occurred to me this evening I should see, since I'm lazy and I haven't written almost any of the essays that I've started prompts for, if I can just make the AI write them for me. So I pulled up ChatGPT and I started off with a prompt. I don't really remember how that ties into the Three Amigos. But anyway, it seemed like a good idea at the time. So I asked ChatGPT to write me an essay, and the essay that it came up with was so vague, it didn't actually have anything to do with the themes of the movie The Three Amigos. It just says that the film characters must navigate their own perceptions of reality and appearance in order to defeat enemies and save the day. And it talks about the film's use of costume and makeup to blur the line between reality and appearance. Nothing specific to the film of The Three Amigos. Talk about Plato's Republic, which I missed in the initial prompt. And it continued with the same generic costume and makeup line, which I don't think was the point that I was going at initially. So I asked it to explain itself. And it sounded like it wasn't even aware of the film itself. Just a vague, characters in films wear costume and makeup, blah, blah, blah. Appearance and reality. They asked if it's aware of the film, and obviously, as an AI language model, it doesn't have personal experiences or recall specific details. So it blamed me. So the abstract implies it was very kind of ChatGPT to apologize. Just to make sure we're on the same footing, I asked it to describe the plot of the 1986 film, The Three Amigos. And it does a decent job of describing what happens in the film. And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching it. It's very funny. And also it has its deep moments, too, that are intertwined with the comedy. I also made sure that ChatGPT was familiar with the character of Polymarchus, because you never know. It's read the book, I suppose, but whatever that means. Just bring it up to the front of its learning whatevers. And it does bring up Thrasymachus and Polymarchus, and it's a pretty surface level understanding, but that's fine. So I asked it to revisit the essay, highlighting the similarities between Polymarchus and the Three Amigos and the villain, El Guapo and Thrasymachus. It was a very interesting response. I think this is the best version of the essay I got out of it. And this is the fun thing that I'm discovering, is that you really have to push and come up with the right prompt, right? You only get an essay that's as good as the prompts that you give it. Even then, it's still not a very deep exploration into either work. So let's just take a second to look at this. The theme is exemplified through the characters as well as the villains, heroes and villains. Conventional views on justice. They're silent film actors living in a world of fantasy and make-believe. And just like Socrates, Mexico forces the Three Amigos to confront their realities. It's interesting that they also, it says that the villains embody the theme of appearance versus reality. And I don't know necessarily that El Guapo was revealed to be a comical and ineffective leader. Maybe it's just that the power of the people rising up together was enough to defeat the evil. I think that's more the theme of the movie. Through their trials and tribulations, both the Three Amigos and Polymarchus come to understand the importance of bravery, friendship, and standing up for what's right. Polymarchus, really, does he come to understand the importance of bravery, friendship, and standing up for what's right? That doesn't seem to at least be... It's too vague to have anything to do with the Republic. I think it's just the the bias of this AI to be positive and talk about anyone who is a hero having these qualities of bravery, friendship, and standing up for what's right. Because even within the three Amigos, they have they're flawed heroes. I mean, Chevy Chase's character Dusty Bottoms, he only stands up for what is right out of great reluctance and because everyone else is doing it and it's made easy. So in conclusion, blah 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 blah. I thought, this is nice, but can we please just include some quotes of dialogue from both pieces to demonstrate the main points? One of the most interesting pieces of this technology is, and of this AI, is watching it iterate on itself. It doesn't always iterate positively. It always iterates confidently, as others have noted. But is this a better essay? I don't think so. It does give more meat to the character of Polymarchus because it talks about specifically his views of justice, but it doesn't really dig into anything about the Amigos themselves as characters. This is interesting, where it does say that, both Thrasymachus and El Guapo say, well, Thrasymachus is arguing about justice, and El Guapo just says he's the greatest bandit. Which I don't know if he actually says that. And this is one of the finer points, is that it just straight up misquotes when you ask it for specifics. And the best piece of this is when it is trying to talk about the similarities between Polymarchus and the three Amigos. Lucky Day, who is played by Steve Martin, sums up the idea when he says, "When you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you rot." That does not sound like anything out of the movie. So I thought, well, let's go back to olden times and let's Google that. And it turns out it's a quote from Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. Anyway, this was a fun little investigation into ChatGPT. I've found it really interesting to go through these iterations and just explore weird and random comparisons and see what the chat can come up with. If you find this type of investigation interesting, leave a comment and I'll make more videos like this. I had a really interesting back and forth with ChatGPT about the best type of mechanical keyboard switches, and maybe that's for another video, or maybe not. Anyway, thanks for following along. I'll catch you later.